APIX. And after all those years, it's really fantastic. As Mary said earlier, it's just fantastic to see the crowd here and the amount of interest and energy and enthusiasm. I really want to congratulate everyone for making the energy to be here, for spending the energy and making it the time to be here. And it shows that SANOG is a powerful, successful organisation, a very, very valuable and important organisation. And it also shows, I think, a real energy in this region for developing the internet. So I'm just so happy to be here. It's an honour, truly. Now, I know SANOG is a technical conference, and this plenary speech is not so technical. It's more sort of administrative and political. It's about this issue of the IANA transition, which has been with us now for a couple of years. And it's not technical, but it's really important. And I really hope that by giving this presentation, I'll help those of you who may not know about the transition to understand what's going on and why it's important, and also to understand how what's been going on is really a good example of the internet model of participation by everyone who's involved with building the internet. And it's the opportunity, it's one of the opportunities that's been around for real grassroots participation, which may have included anyone in this room. And it's really important to understand these opportunities that come up for individuals and companies all around the world to really have some influence. It's not just an opportunity, it's a responsibility, actually. We all use the internet, we enjoy the internet personally and in business, and the internet needs our help. The internet model is one of everyone who is involved and has an interest in getting together and making sure it develops in the right way. And you can trust other people to do that, but it really is a responsibility of everyone here to understand how and why you want to participate and really to help. It happens both locally and also in the region and in Bangladesh. So I really think this is an excellent opportunity, I hope, to share some of these points with you. Can I just ask how many of us here know what the IANA is? So some, not all. I assume some of you may know and are a bit shy in putting your hands up. But, the internet has always been served from the beginning by the IANA, the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. And so what I'm going to talk about here over the next half an hour is, what is the IANA, what it does, what's this transition all about, and why is it happening? What's the plan going forward? What's yet to be done? And also, what does it mean for the numbers community? And by the numbers community, I'm referring to everyone who relies on IP addresses, and I would say that's every individual in this room as network operators. I think your reliance on the IANA is specifically about IP addresses and IP numbers. And so again, this is an important question for all of you. So as I said, the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, it's been around for many years, for as long as the Internet itself. And back in the early days, like many things on the Internet, it was extremely informal. It was actually just one guy, a guy called John Hostel, who unfortunately passed away in the late 90s, just as things were getting interesting. John Hostel worked at the University of Southern California, and he was simply around as one of the internet people during those early days who started performing this function of keeping track of allocations of names and numbers. And it was informal, but and you can see how informal it was by having a look at this RFC from 1981. And this is a direct quote. It says that the assignment of numbers is handled by John, and if you're developing a protocol or application that requires linked sockets, network numbers, etc., please contact John to receive a number assignment. And that was it. Just contact John. And he would keep track of things, would give you the assignment that you needed and keep track of things. Very informal. It was actually quite a few years later, it was in the late 80s, 1988, that the US government decided to take a more firm interest in this. And because the US had funded the entire internet development really to that stage, it decided to sort of assert or express its authority over this IANA function, and it signed a contract with the University of Southern California for them to keep operating IANA on behalf of the US government. So that's where the sort of US has had more authority over the IANA ever since then, because it's had this contract for IANA to extend. And what is it that IANA does? Well, it looks after the DNS root zone, for one thing. It keeps track of and manages the content of the root zone. So that's updates to the, basically it's updates to the list of TLDs in terms of the servers that serve and the people who run those TLDs. IANA also operates 4,000 plus registries of protocol parameters for different protocols. So if a new RFC comes along with a new protocol, then often that protocol may have the need for a parameter registry, and that happens at the IANA. There's more than 4,000 of those, it's a very long list. The thing that's important to most of us, certainly for APNet, is the internet numbers. So the IANA is responsible for the allocation of IPv4, IPv6, and ASN blocks to the regional internet registries. That's not a really high volume activity. These days, particularly since IPv4 has really run almost to exhaustion, there aren't so many of these transactions. We receive large IPv6 blocks, we receive large blocks of 32-bit ASN, but they come from probably IANA. It's very important that the IANA is there to keep the global track of who's got what. There are a couple of other things that IANA does in terms of special purpose TLDs. In particular, .ARPA is one of those, and something we rely on also is in-adder.ARPA and IPv6.ARPA, which track, they are the roots for the reverse DNS, the default roots, etc. So that's important as well. So you could look at IANA as a sort of function of root zone, internet numbers, protocol parameters, and a couple of other things, where of course internet numbers, as I said, is V4, V6, and autonomous system numbers. So the US has been involved ever since the beginning, and very formally since 1988 as a sort of authority over the IANA. And it's important to understand what the US government's role in the IANA is. It's sort of a stewardship role. It's not a very hands-on role. The responsibilities that the US government has and that IANA have are defined by this functions contract. It was signed initially with the University of Southern California. For the last 15 or so years, it's been with ICANN, which is the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. That was set up specifically to take on the IANA functions. Something very specific and quite important that the US government does is to approve requests for changes to the root zone. Now this is something that's actually one of the most critical and key parts of the IANA role and the US government's role, because no change can happen with the root zone without the US government approving that. And when you think about it, that kind of affects every country, because every country has got a TLD in the root zone. And if the country wants to change, say, the administrator of that zone, then it has to have the US government approval. And that actually is one of the really key sort of points about the IANA transition, because I guess you can understand that a country doesn't like the fact that its TLD that exists and is controlled in some sense by the US government. And that is so political that it's really one of the drivers for taking the IANA out and transitioning it out to the US government. The US government is not involved in other IANA activities, so when IANA makes an IPv6 allocation to our IANA, the US government has got nothing to do with that. Overall, the US government sort of provides an insurance company or an insurance policy over the IANA operator to make sure that it doesn't do anything really wrong. It's kind of what's known as adult supervision, and that has been needed, really has been needed for a long time. Now, IANA's been around, as I say, for a long time. I just want to give you a bit of background, because no one knew much about IANA back in the early days. And once the domain name industry really started taking off with the acceleration of internet development, it was the DNS that became a kind of a really important and more prominent thing about IANA's operations. And there started to be concerns about how the DNS top-level zone was being run. The US government decided way back in 1998 that it was time to do something to step back and move responsibility for the IANA into the internet community. And in fact, it started this in 97, 98. there was a white paper in '98 that said, it's 1998, remember, so 17 years ago, it said that the US government, under a new system, the US government is going to continue to participate in oversight until such time as a new corporation which was to be established was stable, and then the US government would phase out no later than September the 30th of the year 2000. So we're running a little bit late, a little bit behind schedule on that initial aim to have the ANA transition in the year 2000. Soon after that paper was established, was released, we had ICANN established, as I say, for the purpose of taking on the ANA transition. And then ICANN continued to operate for the next 15 years or so. Now, there's a lot of history in ICANN, and I'm not going to go into it, but I guess suffice to say that the community and the US government didn't feel that ICANN was ready yet. Not in 2000, not in 2010, not until quite recently. So in the year 2014, the US government finally decided that it would really move ahead with this transition. And what that means, again, is the US government, with this special role, a special contract for the operation of IANA, was volunteering to take itself out. So by taking itself out, it would no longer play a special role. It would no longer cause those kind of resentments I mentioned before, where the US government could, in theory, control what another country's top-level domain is doing. So that was the announcement, 2014. The idea, moving the US government out, fulfilling the original purpose of ICANN, which was meant to be fulfilled in 2000, specifically to take the US government out of that special role. And that is largely political. It's not a technical process of transition at all. What changes is the theoretical authority for IANA, the accountability, that is the sort of correctness, the integrity of IANA's operations, things like dispute resolution. These things change, but in fact, practically speaking, and operationally, it's not going to affect end users, it's not going to affect operators. So people do ask, what's the big deal? And the big deal is, of course, that if this thing goes wrong, then yes, end users and operators will be affected. It needs to be done right. The internet is a very big thing these days. It's a huge community of very strong interests. And so the transition for something that is intended to make no difference has really taken a lot of time, effort, and work. The US government, when they announced the intention to transition, they put some requirements down. They said they'd step out, but they would only step out if there was a new structure in place that would do the job properly. And what they said is that the new structure has to support what's called the multi-stakeholder model. Now, if you haven't heard of that, it's a kind of a code word that governments use quite often for the fact that the internet doesn't have a single authority or a single stakeholder or a single group of people in charge. The multi-stakeholder model really means that we've got end users, we've got businesses, including ISPs and technical organisations, we've got governments, and everyone's got a say. And the way that the government internet is actually to try and balance all those things out together. You don't have any one person who's going to say this is how it's going to be, because it actually is. It's far too big, far too important to do that. So the US government is fully supporting the multi-stakeholder model. They want to make sure that the new structure doesn't interfere with the stability and the security of the DNS, that it meets the expectations of the community, that it maintains the openness of the internet, whatever that means in the eyes of the holder. And very important, and this is a political point, the US government, the NTIA, will not accept any solution that put another government or intergovernmental organisation in charge. And that's sort of code, frankly, for the fact that they don't want to hand this into the UN or the ITU or the bureaucracy like that. So the US government said we'll do it, and here are our requirements, and it's over to you in the community. And ICANN started a process which is really the plan for the plan. They did a consultation across the entire community to work out how this planning would be done. That was a long process in itself, but I won't go into those details. What it produced was the idea that we would have something called the ICG, a coordination group, which would actually do the work. That would have 30 members representing the entire internet community, names and numbers of governments and non-profits, and so on. And the ICG started work. Now, the thing about the IANA that made this kind of achievable is that the IANA is a collection of different functions I mentioned before, basically names, numbers, and protocol-related functions. Those things are actually quite independent. They don't really cross over with each other. They serve different operational communities. And that was something that drove the planning process in the last year, where the ICG really asked for each of those separate communities, the names community, the numbers community, the protocol community, to work out and to provide a plan for how they expected the IANA to serve them. And that's how it was done. That planning process happened. 3 separate plans for 3 separate groups of IANA functions were put together, and the ICG then had to work out whether that could all work. And with a few conflicts, a few differences being resolved, the ICG did produce that plan successfully, and the plan was done. There's one sort of fly in the ointment here, which is that there's another planning process which relates to ICANN's accountability, which has also been a requirement both of the NTIA and the, in particular, names community. And it sort of says we don't quite trust that ICANN can be released from adult supervision in its current form. So we want to have a review of ICANN's accountability. So the ICG timeline, just to illustrate it in a different way, we have the launch of this process in March 2014. We have the ICG coordination group formed in July 2014. We have a call for proposals from 3 separate communities, and a process that then went on over the next year where the ICG received those and produced its final plan. And the plan, as I say, was produced and has been ready since the last few months. As I say, there were 3 separate communities, and we in APNet are part of the numbers community. So when the ICG released its call for a plan, we had to launch our own participatory consultation, a community process to develop our part of the plan. And that started back in September 2014 when the ICG released its RFP. And we had 5 RIR meetings in fairly quick succession between September and November 2014. And these, if you've been to RIR meetings, were fairly typical sort of conversations that happened in plenary forums of those RIR meetings, where members of the community would come in and have their say. But during that series of 5 meetings, the plan was developed. It was submitted in time for the ICG's deadline by the end of 2015. We had something called CRISP, which was a team of people representing the 5 RIRs. They were the ones who took the planning process of the RIR meetings and sort of put together, stitched together this plan, which itself is then subject to public consultation. So again, every time I mention public consultation, this was, in every case, a chance for anyone in this room or anyone, in fact, in the community to have had a say. Now, whether or not you did, that's of course up to you. But one of the critical things here is that really right through this process, it was possible for anyone with an interest to participate. So let's tell you what the CRISP proposal said. And remember, this is the proposal that came from a consensus of the number community, the RIR communities, including everyone here, a proposal for how we wanted the IANA to provide us with the numbering functions of the IANA, that is the RPD4, I think it's an ASN allocation. So what the CRISP plan said was that We were quite happy for ICANN to continue as the IAM operator. We didn't need to take IAM and give it to someone else to do that job. ICANN's done a good job and we want that to continue. But every community said that we want to have a review of that in case of any kind of failure of ICANN. So we could actually take those IAM functions and give them to another organisation if ICANN for some reason wasn't able to do it. The other part of this, the second part, very important, is that the US government, in its stewardship role, will be replaced by the member community, by the RIAs collectively, in having an agreement to run with ICANN to run the IAM function. So what we call that a service level agreement, a contract between ICANN and the RIAs for the IAM services to be run. And so in that sense, we sort of step into that role that the US government had in overseeing. There are a couple of other things, the intellectual property rights that IAM has, things like the domain name, needed to be held by an appropriate party. There needs to be a regular performance review of the IAM function so that we know publicly and transparently ICANN is doing its job in running IAM. So I think that proposal was not terribly complicated. It's fairly straightforward, and in fact the member community was able to converge and produce this plan to a lot more detail than this, of course, but this is conceptually quite simple. We were able to produce this plan and submit it in time without any real difficulty. To illustrate how the sort of environment changes from the current environment to the post-transition environment, again we have the US government here in a contract with ICANN to run IAM, and that contract involves performance expectations and a review process, and IAM simply provides the IAM services to the RIAs. Now in this case we have post-transition, we have the RIAs in a contractual relationship with ICANN to provide the services that the RIAs need, and there is a separate independent review committee to make sure that happens. So that's a fairly achievable, easy, I hope to understand, change. I mentioned that ICANN's own accountability is something that's been under a lot of discussion. That's been something that's been important and increasingly complicated over the years. We all know how important the internet has become, so as the internet becomes more important, there are more kind of ways for things to fail, there are more political and commercial influences, the accountability of ICANN becomes more and more challenging, to be honest. And so really ICANN's accountability was regarded as not being quite clear enough for it to take sole carriage of the IAM functions. And there's been a whole separate process, which again I won't go into, to treat this as a kind of black box of a separate accountability review process. It's looked at different options for the ICANN structure, and what it's come down to in terms of nearly agreeing on the final model is something called the designated model, which is actually not much different to today. So that's achievable. There's a revision of ICANN's bylaws, the idea of a set of fundamental bylaws of ICANN which are more difficult to change than the sort of standard set of bylaws. And I think the thing that's most important about ICANN accountability is that there's been a lot of discussion and agreement on a set of new and clear community powers. So the whole key to this accountability is that if ICANN, in theory, if ICANN does something wrong, then there's a full set of processes and enforceable processes to make sure that it can be corrected. So there's a whole lot of provisions there for the community powers. You don't even want to know the details of what the CCWG this accountability group has done. It's been working exceptionally hard, harder definitely than the ICG planning group. It hasn't yet finished its deliberations. It hasn't yet produced a final agreed result, which is a bit of a problem because the current timeline had this January 22nd as the deadline for the final report. We've broken that deadline. We don't quite know how much longer it's going to take. The point is that until the accountability is defined, the transition plan can't go forward. And what going forward means is illustrated here. It means that these plans go to the ICANN board, they then go to the US government for a US government review. Make sure that the USG is happy to go ahead, they're happy that all the criteria have been met, and they can step out with their response to the process. This all has to happen by September the 30th this year. That's the final date when the current IANA contract expires, and where in theory IANA could continue without the US government oversight. So we're really coming it close, because that process of review by the US government is fairly lengthy, and the deadline for the plan has been broken, so we're kind of asking for the US to take a plan later than they hoped, and if there are any problems with the plan, there's going to be time for it to be adjusted and evolved and so on. So we still don't know what's going to happen. If that deadline is broken, then the sky doesn't fall. In fact, nothing at all changes. The IANA contract with the US, the ICANN US government contract for IANA services gets renewed for a year or more, and life goes on as usual. But I think if we accept that the transition is an important change for this idea of strengthening the multi-stakeholder model for taking the US government out, if we accept that that's an important thing, and we recognise the work that's been done, it would be a great shame to break that deadline and then have to go back to the drawing board. Because the other factor here, of course, is the US government is about to go into elections, and so once that happens, all bets are off. We don't know what's going to come later. We might not get the opportunity again for some years. So the transition, it relies on the ICG's planning for protocols, names and numbers. It relies on the CCWG accountability piece. I want to just finally say a few things about the community effort here. As I said, it's been a huge effort. Literally thousands and thousands of person hours have been spent in all of the layers that I've tried to describe to you. As I said, there's much more detail that you just don't want to know about. It's all transparent and available if you do want to know about it, but it's all online. But the sum total is literally thousands of hours by hundreds of people across the affected operation communities, the committees that have worked, the wider internet community, many individuals who are in interest have helped by contributing, by participating in the ways I mentioned. It's been actually a very good example, particularly if it succeeds. It's been a very good example of the way the internet works. But this is something that's been put into the hands of the internet community. Governments have played a role. Governments haven't exerted authority at all. Governments haven't been in control. ICANN hasn't been in control. No particular community or individual has been in control. So it's the multi-stakeholder fail, but the CCWG will get its work done quite soon. We'll be able to get this, all of this extensive documentation into the US government to achieve what we've all been trying to do. So that's it in a nutshell. And, I hope that's been useful. Maybe not the most gripping and interesting and fascinating thing, but as I said, we're all part of this together. We've all got a responsibility in some way to at least see where we fit into the bigger scheme of things, and I hope that's it. Any questions? I'm very happy to answer. Thank you.
Well, that's a huge number of acronyms that actually goes with ICANN and IANA. The transition is happening, and all of us, each of us, can take part of it. The ICANN talks and the IANA talks. If you wish, you can go there and be there with the transition. Thank you, Paul. And now we have Mars here, and he's busy with pictures. Mars is going to let us know how round-trip time matters. He is from Internet Initiative of Japan. Mars.
Okay, hi, good morning. This is Yoshinobu Masaki, but please for me to get Mars. It's easier. We just had a journal in Japan last week, so it's quite similar. So we are exchanging our experience with each other. We are not really speaking English, so we need a Japanese version. So we need a node in the local language. So that's why we have journal. Let me share my experience. I found this during the summer months. So you know about RTT, round trip time. So you send a packet to your destination, then or you got some answer or response from the server. Then the time from the sending until the receiving is RTT, round trip time. We use TCP for most communication, HTTP or SMTP talk or whatever, right? So it matters for the communication. If the RTT is big, then probably the handshake takes time. And if the RTT is short enough, then the establishing the TCP connection should be finished in milliseconds, right? Of course, we are sending the TCP data to fill up the window size buffer. Then we send back to improve the TCP transmission. Once packet loss happens, still we have some recovery mechanism. We have a timer, RTO, retransmission timeout. It's based on RTT. If okay, the server sending back some information or data, but if during the transmission something happened, it could be lost. Then the client side is sending TCP packet to the server, right? So in general, RTT, the lower the better. You can expect faster TCP handshake, better TCP throughput, right? Faster TCP recovery as well. Of course, there are various efforts to improve TCP performance even in the high latency or high RTT environment. It's well designed. Okay, then here I start my talk. The Wi-Fi is getting popular. We are using Wi-Fi as an access media nowadays. Most people using Wi-Fi for your laptop, mobile phone, or any other gaming device as well. I face trouble. So I have a network. I have a wired network, a wired client, and also wireless client. And from the wireless client, so accessing to the server 2, the RTC was not that stable. It's my network. I design, I manage, right? So should be perfect. So shouldn't happen such kind of jitters. Okay, probably some remote site has problem. So I try to isolate the problem. Okay, firstly, most problems stay in your local. So just in case, I check the local connection. I try to ping my Wi-Fi router. It's quite stable. Okay, yes, it's my network. I know everything. So next, I try to ping another server in the network. It's really far away, but still it's okay because the RDP is stable. Okay. Then it could be the server 2 has problem. So I tried another ping from the wired port in the same network. But it's stable. The RDP is quite stable. From the same network. That's strange. So somehow from the Wi-Fi client to the server 2 has an issue. I tried millions of pings from the wired client and from the Wi-Fi client to the server 1. It's okay, it's almost stable. So of course, Wi-Fi takes a little bit latency because it has a radio section. It's a little bit shifted to the right, but looks like it's okay. So this is a graph pinging from the clients to the server 2. Wired network looks okay, but from the Wi-Fi client to the server 2, it has a strange behavior here. What's this? So I found my Wi-Fi access point was buffered. It buffers packet and then sent to my Wi-Fi terminal. Okay, that's reasonable. But why? My Wi-Fi terminal or Wi-Fi client does free. Of course, it's a mobile client. It has a limited battery. It's designed to reduce battery, right? Battery usage as possible. So before sleeping, the client sends a notification to the Wi-Fi AP to ask the password. It's a standard. So my Wi-Fi access point just doing its job. My client actually was asking the password. So Wi-Fi access point in the beacon packet. It contains many information, like it has such kind of like capability or QoS or SSID or whatever. It includes beacon interval. It's a time interval between the beacon transmission. Usually it's 100 milliseconds. I checked that this Wi-Fi environment. Yes, it configured as 100 milliseconds as a beacon interval. Also, it contains TIM, traffic indication mark, that to tell any sleeping client if he has any buffer frame present for it. So my client can sleep between beacons, like sleeping 100 milliseconds, and wake up to check the beacon. Then see the TIM information if there is any packet buffered in the access point. If there is, then just asking the point to the access point. So the scenario, my Wi-Fi adapter, I check this behavior with my MacBook Pro and MacBook Air. They went to sleep after 200 milliseconds of no traffic. So if there's no traffic, then it goes to sleep. And that time, the unstable RTT happened only when I was communicating with the server 2, because the average RTT is 300 milliseconds. Yeah, it's possible. Actually, I was pinging to the server in Europe from Japan. Think about your service provider. What kind of application are you using? Facebook, Google, Yahoo? Where is the server? Is it in this region? Yeah, it could be. Or is it in the US? Could be. Think about the RTT to get there. Right? And based on the people in carbon information, which was 100 milliseconds in my case, it woke up and received the. That's why most RTT distribution is used in 100 milliseconds in this graph. If I set beacon interval as 1000 milliseconds, it's at 1 second. Of course, the distribution goes higher 1 second. So this is the diagram. So I send some ping request to the destination, but if force RTT is more than 200 milliseconds, it goes to sleep. And wait next beacon. It's theoretically sending from my Wi-Fi access router. Then notify that. Then the client asks the access point to send me the packet, the buffer packet. So summary. Unexpected RTT behavior could happen if your communication is between a host connected to the Wi-Fi network with your client usually and the for a host. Like from here to Europe, or from here to South American, or if you have congested network, yes, this happens. Your Wi-Fi adapter goes to sleep, depending on your chipset or firmware. The sleep duration is manageable by setting beacon interval of your Wi-Fi access point. 100 milliseconds would be reasonable, and it's adaptive library, I think. If you concern about battery usage or battery life, then you can set it at 1 second. But of course, you should expect more jitters for your configuration. That's my thought. Question? If not, I will here until workshop, so you can come to ask any question.
Thank you, Mas. That was obvious. We are not actually considering these buffers during our network planning. So people be aware of the buffers. RTT really matters. Now we are going forward with SANOG fellow, Manahil Khan. She's from Pakistan and she'll be delivering network security challenges in a cloud environment. Manahil.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Manahil Khan. I am Team Lead Information Security from CyberNet, Pakistan, and I am here representing Rapid Compute. It's a division of CyberNet which provides infrastructure as a service. So I'm a fellow here, and this is my first time at SANOG27. So it's my first time. So after looking at your presentation, I should have mentioned my name here. Maybe next time. So let's go ahead, and I would like to discuss today network security challenges in a cloud network environment. It's a perspective. So within my experience, what I have learned, the security challenges we will be facing in future. I have a question. How many of you are here from a cloud computing division or company? Infrastructure and service. Okay. So we can have a talk at 5 lines because I am a young engineer. I am sharing my experience here. I would be wanting to know your knowledge and your information. So infrastructure as a service, cloud, it's a collection of multiple enterprise IT. It's a service delivery model which provides users the storage, the infrastructure resources such as servers, storage, networks on a web-based tool. It's a significant complex architecture which can have VMs with a small infrastructure architecture can have VMs from 5 to 10 VMs with single IP address. And the medium workloads would have 10 to 15 VMs in an architecture with 5 plus VLANs, multiple IP subnets and VPNs. And the big workloads, like the cloud providers, like us, we provide multiple VMs, 10 to above VLANs, dedicated firewalls. We have distributed data centers in Pakistan and L2 interconnects. So the security challenges which I wanted to discuss. There are 3 security challenges which today I will be discussing. First, the north-south traffic problems. Second, the east-west traffic problems. And third, the legal intercept and tax. What are the security issues in this area? So let's start with the north and south traffic. So we have this virtualization domains here. In the first diagram, we have the database, app, and web virtual domain separated. So the not-found traffic, we understand. If an app wants to talk to a DB, they have to go through the physical firewall, which is right at the top. And from one virtual domain, it has to move from the other to the other virtual domain with a firewall in between. So it makes sense if we have a physical distributed firewall here. So let's go to the second slide now. So here we have DB app and web virtual domain within the same network, within the same subnet. So again here we have a physical firewall. The DB is talking to an app and it is moving from north to south and it is taking the route of a physical firewall. So it does not make sense to have such long round trip with a physical firewall. So it is a security challenge as well as a networking challenge here that the virtual domains should be talking to each other like it is explained in C diagram. The DB app or web should be able to talk to each other within that domain without the entrance of a physical firewall. So here comes the concept of a virtual firewall within a virtual domain. So if we have a virtual firewall in this domain, it would be easier for the virtual VMs to talk to each other, and we will have a security in this layer. So the north to south traffic comes to an east-west traffic. So here we will have a firewall which will be monitoring the east-west traffic within the same virtual domain, and it will have a firewall. So the virtual firewall will be configured in such a way that we can handle the traffic within that domain. So intra-host communication, virtual firewalls are the best for that. Other than that, if we discuss physical firewalls versus the virtual firewalls, so if we want to talk from data centers, interconnect to data centers, we would be needing a physical firewall. But the communication, that is 7% of the total data center communication, is the north to south traffic, which involves a physical firewall, and 45 to 50% of your data center communication is the east-west traffic communication, which is going through right now, which is going through a physical firewall, can be tackled with a virtual firewall. So the management of virtual firewalls is rather easier because of the traffic flows increase, but there is a design challenge with a virtual firewall that it has to be managed centrally and all the security policies should be fixed and to be pushed throughout the data centers so that all the virtual domains can have the same security protocols by which they can monitor the traffic and allow what traffic needs to be there. So now, I would like to discuss the east-west problems. So now, we have discussed the north-south problem. The east-west problem would be that now since we have servers with 10 gigabits interfaces, the traffic will be allowed. And there will be broadcast, unknown, multicast traffic here. So what we need is a proper trend analysis of the traffic, which is a security issue because we need a proper S-flow analysis of the traffic. Now to tackle that security issue, we have software-defined networks. We have the new generation switches, the white metal switches, the bare metal switches. These switches comes with a software on top or a third-party software, networking software, which helps those switches tackle these issues because they have a network control function and a forwarding function separated, unlike the black box Ethernet switches which we use today in our data centers. So it gives us a control, it gives network engineers the control to handle the east-west traffic because the network control function can have the policies, the proper security policies by allowing which traffic in which virtual domain. So we have a software, SDN control software here. It's a control plane and the data plane is separated here. So the control plane will decide what what traffic to forward it to the orchestration software of the cloud and what traffic not to send. So bare metal and white box switches reduces the cost and increase the flexibility to program the traffic. They can help monitor the VM traffic, storage migration, and hypervisor communication. The third issue which I would like to discuss are the tags, the legal intercepts. So basically, we want to monitor, mirror, and tag all the hypervisor communication for the legal purposes or for the need of legal information. Since we have 10 gigabits and we're talking about future 40 gigabit interfaces, this can be a pretty challenging task to replicate that information and forward it to another server, and then monitor it or to give it to the authorities. So for that, we can have legal intercepts. For that, we can monitor the traffic with an open flow and S-flow trend analysis. By this, we can monitor the traffic and as well as we can have a SIM in the infrastructure, a DLP and a flow analysis system. SIM, Security Information and Event Management. It's basically log management, active log management and a log correlation system. It has its own ticket management and a vulnerability assessment tool within it, which helps monitor the traffic, all the active monitoring and the log correlation within that domain. So it helps the information and the legal intercept, etc. Some of the SNM vendors are HP, IBM Security, McAfee, Splunk, Alienware, lot of names. So the conclusion. So in an IES cloud, the network engineer should be learning programming just because to program those network switches, the white metal switches and the bare metal switches, and we need a flow analysis and an open flow switches for our communication purposes, and SDN is obviously the key to it. Thank you.
Questions, please.
Hi there, thanks for the talk. Can I ask what open flow stack you're using for the SDN activities and scripts?
Open flow, which can be used for the traffic monitoring and the control function.
Do you know if you're using a particular implementation for open flow? Is it Quagga or those or not?
You want to know the protocol name?
Yeah, the particular, I guess, stack you got here.
Yeah, that is the open flow stack, which is basically used by the SDN switches. So that can help monitor the traffic at the control panel of those switches. So the forwarding panel and the control panel have been separated here. So at the control panel, we have this protocol named open flow. So it helps, it has all the security policies that can be implemented so that if we have a multicast or broadcast unknown traffic coming on our routers from our hypervisor, so it can monitor it, and if you want to block it or if you want to pass it, this protocol will help that control function to them. Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Very well done. Now we have a very interesting presentation. What we people do during our workshop and conference center. Virtualization, here comes Phil Smith from NSRC.